I so I have Disney Plus, and I like to fall asleep to movies and that kind of stuff, like I don't usually do TV shows because I get way more invested in TV shows, weirdly. Like, I love movies, I do. I mean, my goal in life is to be like a film director, but I tend to find myself more that was weird. No, give me that. Okay, more invested in something if there's more progress. I don't know. It's a marketing tactic that, I mean, a lot of things employ, where you make a show and you could have the most pointless episode, but the longer it goes on, it's like you watch it and it's like you're making progress in something, like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels as though there's progress being made, whatever that may be. And then that I'm trying to hold it. Okay, but you know, that's why people like to binge and stuff, because it's almost as if it's almost like when you play the story mode of a game and you see the progress amount go up, or like you go trophy hunting or achievement hunting or whatever, and it feels good because it's like you're making progress, when in reality you're just kind of doing something pointless. But anyway, I find that I'll put on a movie that, even if I've seen it 100 times, I'm really interested in it. And then I end up staying up till like midnight and being like, where did the time go? So I kind of made this like habit of going on Disney Plus and just picking a movie that I don't personally have a huge investment in, I guess, is something. Usually it's something I haven't seen before, right? There's lots of movies that I have seen 100 times. I know exactly how they go. The Dark Knight, for example, where I've seen it a million times, but every time I see it, I'm so invested. What was I saying? Yeah, that's right. I'll watch a movie that I've seen a million times, but I enjoy it so much that I still stay invested. Whereas there's movies that I haven't seen before, and I know some people it's the opposite, where if they've seen it before, they have trouble being invested. For me, if it's something I haven't seen of, and it's not if I watch a horror movie, even if I've never seen it before, I'll be interested. Or same with like a new Marvel movie. Okay, those are really close gunshots. I don't like that. But if it's something like I don't know, something that I haven't really been interested in. Oh jeez, that sounded like, I don't like that. Oh god, I'm being killed. Okay, I'm already dead. That lore, but it's like, oh, the never before told story of this movie, and it's like, I don't care. But I'm actually might be screwed. I'm at the edge of the mountain. Can I go in here, or is this gonna kill me? Never been in the water, but yeah. So I put it on, totally expecting to like fall asleep to it, and it to be the most boring thing ever. But I actually ended up watching like the entire thing. Which, I mean, I really enjoyed it, actually. I know some people who didn't really like it. but I actually had a lot of really enjoy. It doesn't help that I do enjoy Emma Stone as an actor, mostly because I knew her from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I know that's not a good place to know an actor from, but come on. Switch camera. Come on. I want to go first. Come on. What's this button? That's right. Anyway. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed it, and so yeah, I know that doesn't really count as, I purposely went and added it to the list kind of thing. Second thing I watched was the original 1960s 101 Dalmatians movie, and I liked it a lot too. I think for the time it was definitely a really great movie, but I mean, just like with a lot of Disney's classics, where everybody loves them because they're the Disney classics, like, instead of the actual content of the movie, they like it just for the aesthetic or what have you, because it's and because of how good it was for the time. For example, what's a good one? Well, I can't think of one right now, but there's plenty of things where people use an old movie, and they make it like something that they enjoy, in the sense of like it being a aesthetic that matches something. I don't know how to explain it much better than that. I guess, for example, having Alice in Wonderland all over your clothes, all over the clothes that you wear, and having tattoos of it, and you use a lot of LSD. I was gonna say smoke a lot of weed, but it's not that bad. But yeah, let's say it's something like that, where you do a bunch of drugs, so you use Alice in Wonderland as your like aesthetic for your profile on. It's kind of like how they did those weird Simpsons videos where it had like this kind of depressing tone, which, I mean, there's a lot of shows and movies that, and I have a bad habit of this, where if you think about it too much, it becomes really depressing. Like The Simpsons, for example, is in reality about an alcoholic who beats his son and has a disabled son who he abuses, a wife who doesn't want to be with him, and a daughter who is repressed from trauma, and like it just gets worse and worse kind of thing the more you think about it. And there's some shows like Family Guy that have a similar thing where it's like he abuses his kids and all this, but in reality, because Family Guy so rarely has an episode that actually shows that side of things, you don't really notice it. Like, I have a hard time looking at Peter Griffin and being like, this man is a depressed, overweight alcoholic and he needs help, compared to Homer, because there's lots of episodes of The Simpsons where things do get depressing, and you can see that kind of not so happy side of him compared to Peter and compared to like shows like that. But anyway, that's what I mean though, is the aesthetic of things, you know. So I do enjoy the movie itself, however, I feel like it is very dated. And I might say that a lot about a lot of old Disney movies that I end up watching, but I'm someone who, when I was little, like I'm talking not even old enough for kindergarten, my grandmother bought me every old school, like original Disney movie on DVD, like from Snow White until from Snow White until like Nightmare Before Christmas or something. Like all the way, it was from their first movie until like the 90s. Maybe even later than that. I had like all of them on DVD. And so I watched a lot of those old Disney movies. And I hadn't seen them in years, still haven't seen a lot of them in a long time, especially like Cinderella and stuff. But I have fonder memories with some than others, and 101 Dalmatians is one that I never really was like a huge fan of. And some of the ones that I did really like are kind of embarrassing, but we'll get to that. So yeah. I do like Cruella de Vil though as a character in general. I think she's actually really cool. And yeah. The next one was 101 Dalmatians 2 Patch's London Adventure, and I honestly found it really boring. I found it so uninteresting and completely like I'm sorry, it feels like one of those gimmick movies, like a summer vacation type movie or whatever, where they very clearly thought of the setting first and wrote the movie after. Let's think of an example. I mean, I love horror movies, so the first example that comes to mind for me is like Jason Takes Manhattan or something like that, where they clearly thought of the title first and wrote the movie second. And that's what it feels like to me, is that they kind of were like, what if the Dalmatians were in the UK? And then that was kind of just like, alright, let's do it. And then they wrote the script. I actually didn't even know there was a real movie. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Didn't know there was a real movie called that. Until I decided to watch it, because this is gonna be the death of me. But anyway, because I had seen the PS1 game called that on a video by Cat Icarus on YouTube, which is the site I'm uploading this to, so I don't know why I said on YouTube. Which I'm a big fan of Cat Icarus. I actually have his YouTubes right in front of me. It's right beside my TV. Favorite YouTuber of all time. But anyway. So whenever I think of that name, I just think of the game. I don't really think of the movie. So yeah, I also watched the original 101 Dalmatians animated series. I watched about like 10 episodes of it. I think there's 65 in total. And I watched the first 10. And to me it just felt like a very generic like kids show, which I mean isn't bad. And I mean I know I've just bashed gimmick movies, but some can be good. Like when I found out about Hotel Transylvania Summer Vacation, I was like, this is the dumbest idea ever. I hate this. Watched the actual movie and enjoyed it way more than I thought. So there are gimmick movies where they clearly thought of the title first and wrote the script after that are actually good. However, I didn't think this was one of them. But anyway, the original show, it just feels like one of those ones where they're like, this is popular, so... And you know what? It wasn't even, actually. They had made... So the original was in the 60s. The second movie, I believe, was like 2003. However, there were remakes in the early... Like, in 2000 and, like, 1996. I don't know what year it was. I didn't pay attention. But the remakes, I guess, were coming out. So they made a television series or something along those lines, and it was not in the remakes, though. It was in the original continuity. And it just felt like a very generic, very young children's TV show. I mean, I was able to stomach more of it than I was for the other 101 Dalmatians show, which I'll get into later, but that's just because it's in like a mid to early like 90s Saturday morning cartoon type show, and I love those kind of shows.